or you're relaxing at home, you're still welcome to the show. Today we're going to have a conversation on flooding. More specifically, we're going to be looking at whether demolition is the answer to ending Ghana's recurring floods. In recent times, anytime we see the clouds gather, we no longer get excited about the rain, but we are filled with fear. What exactly has been the reason, and why do we find ourselves at this point? Why do we get to the point where floods must be devastating? Is it a problem from nature, or is it our own self-inflicted problem? Today I have with me in studio some experts who understand this problem better, who are going to help us do justice to this situation. My name is Kweku Tekrajumo. We'll take a very short breather here, and when we come back, we'll take news from around the world. And you can join us on our social media. You can join us on Facebook at ZFMGH, or you can join us on around the world at www.zmultimedia.com. On radio, we are on Z 101.9 FM. Do not go away. Stay tuned. For news around the world, In Nigeria, Nigeria's president, Tinubu, has ordered an investigation into allegations that a fake government agency was created within his office and received a public funding allocation of nearly $1 million. The presidency says the alleged agency, known as the Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council, was based on forged documents, including a letter said to have been signed by the president's chief of staff. Police have launched a search for Adeyemi Matthew, who presented himself as the agency's Director General. He's wanted over allegations of forgery, impersonation, and related offenses. Adeyemi has denied wrongdoing, saying the council was legally established in 2024 to attract foreign investment into Nigeria. He has also accused some officials of demanding bribes during the appointment process, allegations the presidency denies. President Tinubu has directed the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission to investigate the matter and submit a report within 30 days. In South Africa also, humanitarian groups are warning of growing needs in South Africa as anti-migrant protests continue across the country. The medical charity Doctors Without Borders, also known as MSF, says tens of thousands of migrants have been displaced by intimidation and violence linked to the protests. Demonstrators have been carrying out door-to-door searches for people they accuse of living in South Africa illegally, with some migrants being handed over to the police. The protests are being driven by claims from some groups that undocumented foreigners are taking jobs and contributing to rising crime. South Africa has one of the highest unemployment rates in the world. The MSF says the violence has also affected refugees, asylum seekers, and migrants who have legal documents. The organization says some people have been unable to access health care because of fear and discrimination. And Andy Burnham is set to become the next leader of the United Kingdom's Labour Party after receiving overwhelming backing from Labour MPs. Burnham secured nominations from 322 of the party's 403 lawmakers in the first stage of the leadership process, leaving him just one nomination short of the threshold that will make it impossible for a challenger to enter the contest. No other Labour politician has declared a leadership bid. Burnham is expected to be confirmed as the party leader next week. He will then become Prime Minister on 20 July, taking over from Sir Keir Starmer without a vote among Labour members if he remains the only candidate. The move marks a dramatic return to national politics for Burnham, who left Parliament in 2017 to become Mayor of Greater Manchester. He returned to Westminster only recently after winning a by-election in Makerfield. Burnham has previously contested the Labour leadership twice in 2010 and 2015, but failed to win on both occasions. In his first comments after securing the nominations, Burnham said the support from MPs across the party reflected a desire for a new direction in British politics. He has outlined plans to shift more power away from Westminster and give local communities greater control over areas such as housing, transport, and public services. And here in Ghana also, the Director General of the CID, that's COP leader Yako Donko, has warned that illegal possession and use of firearms continue to drive armed robbery, violent crime, and other criminal activities across the country. Speaking after the 8th National Arms Destruction Ceremony, she said removing illicit and obsolete weapons from circulation is essential to protecting lives and strengthening public safety. COP Donko noted that the destruction of illegal firearms demonstrates Ghana's commitment to reducing gun violence and preventing weapons from being used for criminal purposes. She said the CID will continue to combat firearm-related crimes through intelligence-led investigations, forensic examinations, and collaboration with local and international partners. The police also appeal to the public to support efforts by reporting suspected firearm trafficking and refusing to acquire or possess unlicensed weapons to help build safer communities nationwide. President John Dramani Mahama has called on Ghanaians to stop dumping refuse into drains, warning that poor waste disposal practices continue to worsen flooding across the country. Speaking during an inspection of the Alajo drains as part of the national cleanup exercise, the president said the recent floods highlighted the urgent need for behavioral change. He noted that the Alajo drain had become heavily blocked with silt, plastics, and household waste, preventing the free flow of water. President Mahama said drains are meant to channel storm water and not serve as dumping sites, urging residents to use designated waste collection facilities instead. He also commended the security services, traditional leaders, and volunteers for supporting the cleanup campaign. The president assured that drainage improvement works will continue beyond the exercise with measures to ensure cleared waste is properly removed to prevent recurring floods. Many thanks for staying with us to the Focus on Zed 101.9 FM, and that was news around the world. We'll take a very short breather here, and when we come back, we're going to launch into the main conversation today on whether demolition is the answer to ending Ghana's recurring floods. I have my guest seated in studio, well poised, to help us have a very good conversation. You can join us again on our social media handles. That's on Facebook, and join us on ZFMGH. On YouTube, you can also join us on Zed Multimedia. You can send your questions, contributions to our WhatsApp line 0544321019, 0544321019. Or you can leave your comments also on our social media handles, and we're happy to take and read them. We'll take a very short break here. Do not go away. www.zedmultimedia.com. You can also listen to us on radio at Z 101.9 FM. Now, as mentioned, I have my guests seated in the studio. People I consider experts in this field, people who have much knowledge that if we're able to tap into their knowledge, we maybe can bring our flats to an end. I have in studio Produce Yao Agbotui, who is an engineer, a doctor, a civil engineer and a hydrologist, and also a member of the Ghana Institute of Geosciences, GHLG. Sir, you're welcome today.
Thank you very much.
And I also have Stanley Blanksing Esquire, who is a geologist, a hydrogeologist, and a lawyer, and also a member of the Ghana Institute of Geosciences. Say, you're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so everybody is talking about floods. If you go everywhere, we are talking about floods. The government people have criticized even the president from flying a helicopter when we are down here suffering. Some leaders have gone out to extend heartfelt messages to some people who were affected unduly by the floods last Monday. Some days ago, the president declared some 2-day cleaning exercise. There's been a lot of sentiment. Some people have said it's a waste of our time and that the real problems were ignored. Maybe let me just take your comments on the cleaning exercise we're having. Is this something that is helpful? Is this something that you think is sustainable? Let me start with Produce.
Yes, the cleaning exercise is very helpful. And you can see, I mean, this was a practice that we used to have as we used to live as a community those days. And you can see from yesterday and today, people have come out. They are weeding around the roads, around drains, desilting, and people are working to ensure. And you can see if you work around the drains, for example, if you pass through a shaman, you see capacity has been created in the drains. I mean, if you were to go to a shaman a few weeks ago, when it rains, the water just moves on top of the drain and onto the road. Okay. Now, a drain needs capacity. Yeah. And the drain has been designed to carry a particular capacity, which is itemized in the cross section of the drain. Now, when that area is lost from siltation, from waste, you have lost the capacity of the drain. When the rain comes, that capacity is gone. The water will just run off onto the roadway. And so what has gone on yesterday and today, if it's sustained and brought to the hearts of individuals and at a community level, we will win the fight.
But interestingly, a lot of people have said that it's just a social media gimmick, just a political stunt, and that this collection they're doing, they just take it, put it by the side of the road, the wind will blow, or people will even just kick it into the gutter, and we go back to square zero.
This has been going on for a while, but from what I observed yesterday, I was in Ashaman yesterday. Okay. It was being collected by trucks. Okay. Even I passed through, on my way here, I passed through Teshi. People were taking it with wheelbarrows at that level, at the community level, and sending them off. You know, some of these sediments are useful for construction. And you see some of these boys sweeping these sediments from roads and selling. And so some of them become building material. So this time around, I think the lesson has been learned and it's been collected. And if the few ones that will not be collected, we will encourage that they are collected. So we give a clarion call that the communities that have not collected the sediment should collect. If it goes back there, then we've lost it.
Right, I'm going to move to Mr. Blanks, but let me find out when they are collected, where do they take it to? I'm still on you.
So some of the sediments are sold, and some will eventually be sent to waste dumps, and it will be segregated. If we get to the level of integrated waste management, some of the waste like plastic, bottles, sachets will be taken out, and the sediment that is left, if they are not contaminated, they can be used for construction.
Right, but here you're talking of can, but I'm speaking of in actual sense. Do you know where they take it to? Because some people
they take it to waste sites.
Okay.
Yes, they will take it to waste sites, and I saw some being dumped into dustbins, which will be collected by waste management companies.
Okay, so you are all in support for the cleaning
I believe in what is happening. It is going to work. When we get into the science and the engineering of drainage capacity, you get to appreciate what I mean.
Right, let me turn to Mr. Blankson. Also, for your initial thoughts on the cleanup exercise. If you go online, a lot of people have been condemning it. We are wasting our time. Anytime it rains, we just appear, do something for some 2 days, we go back to our old ways. Do you support the cleaning exercise?
Yes, I totally support it. Immediately, it removes, as my senior has said, the clogging of the channels that are supposed to transport the water. Now, that is what allows the rain not to, the water not to build up, because it is the blockade that makes the water level build up.
Okay, and it overflow on the roads.
Exactly. So, I usually would do my morning walk around this thing. I pass Kolibu, and the waste dump that is there. This morning, I saw a lot of trucks coming to deliver the waste that has been collected off the road.
Okay.
So, as he said, it is truly the case that it is transported to waste dumps.
So you will call for the fact that we should be doing these cleaning exercises more often?
More frequently. More frequently. Once in a while, there will be rainfall, the extent that there will be flood. But some are avoidable. A lot of it is avoidable. You know, rainfall to the tune of 140 millimeters shouldn't cause floods.
Oh, is it?
Yes, it shouldn't. It shouldn't, you know. But it is because it has been made worse by, you know, the clogging of the transporting channels and then the building in the waterways that's supposed to transport this flood water to where it's supposed to be.
Intriguing. Let me just ask you the real question of this flood issue. What is the cause? Because you see, the rains we find, and I think you rightfully mentioned that this level of rain should not cause the flooding we saw. We've been to other countries where sometimes you can see rains for about 10 days non-stop. But after the 10 day, it looks like nothing happened. You just may see that the ground is just a little wet, but you see water piled up at a place. But for us, when it rains just one day, then your heart, I mean, you can't even sleep, because even if it doesn't affect you, it's affected your neighbor. You can't go out and you're telling everybody stay in the house and all that. What is the cause of this flooding problem in Ghana?
Okay.
Sure, no problem. You can take it.
So the flooding cause in Ghana, the causes of flooding, they are multiple. And if you want to analyze the causes, you must look at where the water is coming from, and then after it hits the ground, that is in the hands of, where it's coming from is from nature. Once it hits the ground, it comes into our space. And what we are doing in the space is what, this dichotomy is what we will use to look at the causes. Now, the rains they come from the heavens. When the clouds form, there's saturation, the clouds become heavy, they'll come down as rain. Now, we have noticed that there is climate change. Previously, if it wants to rain across the rainy season, it comes in bits. But with climate change, it will come in a short time with high intensity. Within a short time, you have a lot of rain coming on. Now, that is the impact of climate change. And from our experience over the years, we have seen that, yes, truly, there is climate change going on. Now, when the rain hits the ground, because of this volume with which it is coming, as a people, there are several things we are doing. So climate change is one of the natural causes, but there is a one with planning as a country, regulation, and then monitoring and inspection. Let me break this down.
But even before you move to planning, maybe going back to the climate change, are you making the case that now, because of climate change, we're experiencing heavier rainfall?
Yes, we are. We are. And Ghana Meteorological Services and several research has shown that for the past 20 years, we have heavy rainfalls within a few hours.
Okay.
And then we'll go very dry for long. And then when it comes, within a short time, heavy rain. Years ago, it used to come in it comes in long hours, drizzles, stop, give us some reprieve, and come again very nicely. And it was very predictable. Nowadays, it is not.
It's not.
We'll just be here and we hear it's coming from Benin. And then you see this shade of clouds and rainstorm coming, and then we are hit.
Okay.
And when it can fall for long hours. You can refer to June 3rd.
Yeah.
You just refer to what happened recently. And you could feel it on your roof. I mean, when you're in your room and you hear the shah, then it stops. And it drills, they hear shah, then you know that is intensity. Within a short time, what is hitting your roof is so heavy.
Okay.
That is the impact of climate change. A lot of intensity within a short time. Okay. Now, when the rain hits the ground, what have we done as a people is one of our problems, which has to do with planning and regulation. Now, few years ago, most homes had green areas. Now, what that means is that when the rain comes, the rain is able to basically infiltrate into the ground. When this rain infiltrates into the ground, it doesn't quickly run off to our drains. It starts putting pressure. It will be in the ground. Some go to recharge groundwater. And most of us nowadays want to drink groundwater. We are drilling boreholes. Interestingly, for those same properties, we have paved the whole house. So how do we get the water to infiltrate? Now remember, if it starts infiltrating into the ground, it's going to the ground is like a sponge. It will soak this water, give us time for reprieve, and then later starts moving off. If you've lived in the village before, you realize if you go to the sides of cuts or rivers, when it rains, after a few days, you see the stream face will be crying. Let me use the layman language. The stream face will be crying water. That is water that would have run straight if the water had not gone into the soil. So infiltration has been reduced because of paving. Now, once you've paved, in fact, your roof is even a paved area. Our roofs are paved area. Once we bring in a roof with a property, that space that water should seep into the ground is lost. Now, all that water that hits the paved area runs towards the
roof. Take that again. You're saying that if
the roof is a paved area.
Okay.
So if you have built in an area, you can even experiment this. If you live in a neighborhood where one person has a roofed area and another land is bare, like development, one has not developed, the next person has developed. If it rains, you see water coming from the roofed house run onto the road. But you see the place that has been developed, no water coming in. And you wonder, is it the same rain? Your roof is a paved area. Okay. Interestingly, we all do rain gutters. But what do? These rain gutters, we channel back to the drains. That water that hits your roof is a lot of volume of water. A few years ago, we used to harvest rain. Nowadays, we claim we have developed, and so we channel the rainwater away. Few hours after rain, the tap is locked, and we are looking for water. Now, the rain that happened recently is about 140 millimeters. In my home, I did an estimation. If I multiply that 140 millimeters, converted to meters, by my roof area, which is 342 meters squared, I get 48 meter cube of water. 48 meter cube of water is 10,000 liters. 10,000 liters of Syntex polytank. 5 of those.
Yes. Oh wow!
Imagine you catch that water as a property owner. Even if you don't want to use that water because you think you don't need it, you can wait after the rains. We pump it out. How does that solve our problem? You have saved the drains a lot of pressure and load.
That's a lot of water.
A lot of water. If all of us were to do that. And interestingly, that water that comes is one of the best quality water that we have. It's the best quality. Actually. Because as a country, we are not that industrialized. Apart from the first 5 minutes that the rain comes and clears the dust, the rest is solid, correct water that all of us can use. But because we claim we've developed, we've stopped catching that. When we used to live in the village, they had pots. Even homes in the cities. It would just rain into the tanks and we will use it. But we've stopped using this. So that paving problem is a problem for us. Now, then the next one is when we come to how we are catching the water, the drain capacity. In drainage design, we design a cross section to carry a particular volume of water. And we do that after analyzing the hydrology of the catchment area of where the water is coming from topographical analysis. Now, that area that had been designed for, let's say, a place that was developed in the 90s. But that drain has been overwhelmed because of paving now. But when we design, we look at what we call the runoff coefficient, which is a function of the surface on which the water falls. If rain falls on sandy terrain, you don't see any water running on the surface. If you go to the beach and it rains, do you see water running on the beach? You don't, because all the rain is infiltrated.
It goes down.
We use this parameter to design the size of the drain. Now you now come in and pave the space. So already we are off. Now let me give you the real feel of this runoff coefficient or paving. When you pave your home with concrete, about 90% of rainfall will run off.
Yeah.
So if I do, let's say, my place is vegetated, about 20% will run off. That's about tenfold multiplication of flow.
Yeah.
You see? And these drains that were designed, let's say, in the 90s, were designed for terrains that were not this paved. Now we have paved, we have already put pressure on the drain. In addition, maintenance of these drains have become a problem from what do we do? Our waste management problems.
But even on the pavement, I mean, it looks like for people, it's a convenient way of living, because the person think of the fact that, let's say I have my whole house is lawn or has greens. The debt, I mean, the maintenance, animals, you are, in fact, now looking for something to just weed your house, very costly. So if let me just pave or tile my house, then I have my peace of mind.
No, the paving on the national level will not help us. If you go elsewhere, if you go to seek permit, the nature was already there without a paving, without a roof, and you came in. Before you get permit, you must demonstrate mitigating measures you are putting in to ensure nature is not overwhelmed. So you must tell them you are going to catch the rain.
Okay.
Or you are going to basically have a percentage of greening in your home for water to absorb into the ground. Or use what we call permeable pavement. There are permeable pavements.
Okay.
Yes, they are permeable that are designed to absorb water.
So that when you pave with those permeable water can go through.
It's designed and it can go through.
Here in Ghana, we have some here.
It is done in Ghana.
Okay.
So these are regulation issues. For example, if you come for permit, we must insist. It must not be suggestive. In our building permitting, we must not suggest that we need a percentage green area. It must be mandatory. My brother will speak about the legal connotation. It must be mandatory that for this area that you are developing, the measures you must put in for risk mitigation are so and so. And if you don't put it in, we don't approve your permit. One of them will be to catch the rain. The other is to get a percentage area of your land must be greened so that we don't have this sudden runoff going on.
But again, isn't that a cost factor? Because as I'm saying, greening is not cheap. I mean, for your home.
No, greening is actually one of the best ways, because you know, if you pave your home, and the sun comes, we are in the tropics. The sun comes in the afternoon. This concrete absorbs this heat, and then in the night it radiates it to your building, and you feel your building breathing heat.
No, true there. I know that, but I'm just saying that another person said, I've taken off that headache of going to come to spray. You know, these insects that come on the greens. The risk of having some small snake there. So a person's mind is that, let me pave and just go.
You know, what must help us nationally is what we must adhere to.
Okay.
It's not what somebody feels.
Your convenience
shouldn't be our problem.
Absolutely.
All of us have lived with greenery when we're young. In fact, when you get to some homes, the place is so green, you say, let me use this in connotation. People should pardon me. I went to, when I was young, when my father and I go to some homes, in places green, my father would say, it means he's in a white man's house.
Okay.
When you see the greenery, you see vegetables, crops, it has a smell, there's the feel. That gives you a lot of comfort. The Yevufama effect, the green white man effect, we lived this few years ago. It was very comfortable. You can lie anywhere and rest. Nowadays, you come home and your building is breathing heat. There's no place to cool down.
True, and in fact, for our parents, they took pride in the fact, because many of them grew up in farming communities. you see some plantain, small plantain, some pear, oranges, mango. So you see at the back of the house there will be I mean that vegetation, which I guess from your end it helps with this rain issue.
It does.
Okay.
It does. So then when we come to maintenance, our waste management problems, we are not very adept as having an integrated waste management stream.
Right.
The waste piles up, all this, the waste companies they are overwhelmed because we don't plan our waste management properly. The other thing is we must try and follow the reduction of waste. We must generate less waste. We must also recycle, and we must also reuse. For example, our pure water bottles that we use, there are some that you use today, and in fact, for the whole week, you can get water into that same bottle and move around with it.
Yeah.
But immediately we finish drinking,
we throw it away.
We throw it off. Because there's no cost on these bottles. If we want to regulate this waste generation, we must put money. I mean, if you go to the United Kingdom, if you go to a shop, they put value on the polythene bag you buy.
Oh, yeah.
And then the next time you come to the shop, you bring that bag back.
True, you buy it.
Money is involved.
True. Even in Europe, I mean, it's a thing. If you buy from a shop, don't give you, they'll ask you that, okay, do you want to buy it?
Yes.
And if you think of spending maybe an extra $1 just to get a rubber,
you bring it back the next time.
Yeah, or you go with your own tote bag or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We used to take baskets to market when we were younger.
Yeah.
And when we want to do okra stew, the bowl that we are going to do the okra stew, we take that bowl to buy the jomi. We even have a dedicated bottle for buying jomi. For the whole years I lived with my father. We buy from the jomi in that same bottle until it becomes exhausted.
Now we say we are modern people. I mean, if you see your mother do, you say, man, how much is a bottle?
No. We have lost it. I think we should go back to our very simple ways of waste reduction. You know, and I've also said this elsewhere that you know, some people don't drink Ghana's tap water.
Oh yes.
Yes. The belief is that the water is contaminated, but I think that we have not sat down to look at the physics of what is going on. If you live in East Legon, do you have a drainage channel that your pipe is passing through, like in, let's say, in Teshin Ngwamani, for example? Do you have such a channel?
It's not
you may not.
Thought of,
Your water has no problem. Your Ghana water has no problem.
Is it?
It's a big mistake we often make. In my home, I drink Ghana water. I don't drink sachet water.
But how did we come to the point that our water was not clean? Because previously we were drinking from the taps.
We were sold the wrong concepts.
So possibly somebody's business.
It's business we are generating for people with this pure water business. In fact, there are some homes when you even go, they don't drink pure water. They drink from bottles. It shows their level of affluence and status. Yeah. These are all mindset problems, you know. But if you put money on these bottles, people will stop because money is involved. If you even don't want to drink your Ghana water, why not boil it? Why not boil it and put it in a pot or a receptacle for it to cool down, and then you put it in your fridge and drink? Why not do that? All this pure water we are buying. Do you know a pure water bag is about 12 cedis?
Yes,
right?
Yes.
A meter cube of Ghana water. Do you know how much it costs? Have you checked your bill recently? It's 8 cedis. My waist height going into space, that volume of a meter cube is 8 cedis.
Cheaper that way.
Cheaper. A whole meter cube of this space of water. And we are buying a bag of water for 12 cedis. But we claim we are poor people. So our lifestyle is misinformed.
But that's a good point, because I know even some people, when they're about to drink tea, the water they are boiling, they'll use this kind of water. They'll not even use the normal tap water.
They are confused. It's a big mindset problem.
Right.
A complete mindset. In my home, I have babies. I have a child who is 5 years old. We don't drink Ghana. In fact, I have a rain harvester. That's what I drink from. For the past 4 months, I've not been using Ghana water.
Okay.
Yes. So because maybe it's because I'm a civil engineer, but our Ghana water has no problem. For example, if you have a pipe that is best and bad water even enters, when water is released, do you see the pressure with which it comes to your home? Do you think that dirt will survive?
That's true.
What about mixing? All the volume of water that is coming, how much dirt is in it that the mixing potential will not dilute it? So we are the physics and of what is happening in our systems, we don't understand as a people. And
so it means that government is spending so much money to make the water clean.
Yes.
And we end up wasting it.
We do. And if you go to any Ghana water treatment plant, every barge of water that is released, there's a quality report.
Yes.
All this pure water we drink, who comes to give us the quality report per day?
True.
Nobody. Most of these waters are done in some corners and slums.
In fact, recently I think I saw a video of how and if you see the filth.
Yes.
But I mean, just because there's a stamp on it, if some of the stamps are even doubtful, but just because there's a stamp on it, but maybe as you arrive later, somebody's business that changed now. Go a little. You're happy putting your
under the tap.
Under the tap.
We didn't carry cups to school. We drink from the tap.
To drink, like even do you call it Russian bomb? You know, they's collecting the rubber.
Yes.
Then we'll buy it. But all of those just went away.
Yes. And so if you look at the waste that chokes our drain, a big part of it is pure water, polythene bags, and the bottles.
Okay.
And then this takeaway business we are doing. I go to buy, let's say, a paste in my area to use to brush my teeth, or buy sugar, and then I tell them to put it in a takeaway rubber. Meanwhile, I live just next door. I can just carry that in my home in my hand and walk home.
Even something like you buy 3 different items, they put
it in different. I go and buy kenke. They put the different fish types, shrimp, shitolo, the other fish, all in tray. Yeah. The pepper black in also different, in red in different. The kenke is put in different polythene. Now put together, all of it. Put together, and put together, and another put together, and it's brought to me. To take home.
Because there's no cost, as you say.
What if I take a basket to buy the food? What if I go to buy porridge with a flask? There are times I go out to buy porridge in a flask, and the cocoa seller and the guys standing are watching me. It's strange. It's like, this guy, where is he from? Is he all right? We must start living simply as a people. Go back to our old ways. Life was simple, uncomplicated, short, and straightforward.
No judgment. Everybody was happy.
We are too concerned about what people are saying. And let me give you an example. There was one day I was driving home around Ashaman, and I wanted to buy water. So I got down, bought sachet water. And there was this mason. And he looked at me. I think he looked at me and sized me and felt, this guy is well dressed. Why is he drinking sachet water?
Sachet water.
He asked the woman, Halle bottle water, Hammy. And I told him, it's all right.
Shine says way below you.
No, yeah, basically. And I know this, after this, it's complicated. I just took the sachet and left.
Exactly.
So mindset, status, attitude, and it's a big problem. Yeah. And that is one of the problems with our waste management that is influencing our drainage capacity. Then we also have to redesign. So then we come to the engineering problems, whether we are actually moving as a country with respect to our development. Once this paving starts, if we are not following the rules, then quickly we must reassess our drain sizes and start redesigning. Some of our drains are the capacities are inadequate.
But now that you bring design, I know in some other countries, Dubai and the rest, they have a design plan for the country. Yes. Sometimes we are ahead of 100 years.
Yes.
Do we have that in Ghana?
We have it on paper. When it comes to implementation, we don't. We have very nice development plans, but we are not able to activate them due to several factors, one of which we will always come back to.
Do we know as a country we have it?
We do have. If you go to the National Planning Commission.
Now, I'm saying beyond us having it, do we know we have it?
As a people?
Yeah, as a people.
That is also another discussion. Experts like us may know, but a common man may not really know how these things are communicated. It's just done in boardrooms. People drink Milo and tea, go and sign documents, take allowance and go. But how it's disseminated through the assemblies to the community level, like strategies to the community level, is problematic.
If I'm asking this question because for us from Zed, we've been following up with the Development Commission for some of these things, the structural design, so we can see and have a minute, but we get no results.
No, the problem at the NDPC level, they don't design drains to that level.
But they should have a record of it.
No, that when you need to come to the assemblies.
Okay.
The assemblies before they didn't have Ghana Hydrological Services Authority as part of the teams. Okay. But nowadays, is being worked on in such a way that the authority is getting involved at the assembly level. The problem is that when it comes to very big building, that's when they are invited in. But they don't have
the
offices.
Assembly have it of just of their area. Would they have, let's say, the plan of the entire country?
The development office may not have, but the hydro services is supposed to have.
The hydro services.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The hydro authority at the Ghana Standard Authority.
Right.
Yes. Shashi.
Shashi.
They are supposed to. And in fact, there was a time that we were trying to develop an integrated drainage plan for the country. I think there was a program we had 2 years ago called Bench, which was supposed to start that.
By the Ministry of Works and Housing?
Yes. 2 years ago. I was there.
I was there too.
Yes, it's supposed to. That is where we are supposed to start from.
Okay.
And in fact, this integrated development drainage plans are not that difficult to do. At the assembly level, even at the community level, this can be developed in small bits from where a stream starts and where it ends. You can develop it in bits and join together. And we have plans. But due to a few issues, staff constraints, planning and following the rules, it's a problem. Now, then let me go to the issue of demolitions.
Yeah.
When it comes to what God has given us to protect us against flooding, in every catchment there are what we call depressions. Let me cite a practical example for you. You know, when you go through areas where the roads are not well paved, you see puddle of water. Yeah. Those puddle of water we call potholes. They are basically flood-saving natural ways that have been developed because of undeveloped roads that have come about. Those depressions are flood-saving opportunities because we haven't developed the road.
Okay, if it had been paved,
the water will run. God gives us this in natural ways. He gives low-lying areas like floodplains, like the Sakumo Ecological Zone, Cocoa Beach Lagoon. These are what we call depressions that, like lakes, that God provides, ponds God provides for us so that when it rains and the pressure mounts, these places hold the water. But what do we do now?
We are filling it.
We are filling these places and building these places up without any listening to anybody. And assemblies are supposed to act. They will try, but when calls are made, you come to the legal part of that. Yeah. Calls are made and people just stop. The engineers who are on the field, they see things and quickly they stop. They are just then calls will come. My brother, slow down. Slow down. Don't do it. Just slow down. And you know, once you make a mistake, we were here recently when somebody said they will transfer people to somewhere. I won't mention.
Yeah, it became a big issue.
It became a big issue. So if you make a mistake, we'll send you to tough places, tough terrains, and that will be your end. So people do their best. Engineers are doing their best. They know the right thing. They want to do it. But we don't allow the laws to work. The other thing are the bylaws. Some of these bylaws, before they get demolition permission, you are the lawyer, you go through a lot of court hearings before demolition permits are given. Yeah. However, we have a national demolition control center headed by NADMO, flood engineers, hydrogeologists, geologists, geoscientists, and then the army, for example, and the police, right, and legal people. Once a coordinate is given, as we put it on our integrated flood map. Once you're in the floodplain, we drive there. The whole squad comes there. We don't listen to whether you are who to who or who. We just come and demolish. These are some of the things that must work to save us.
Very intriguing. You've given us quite a detailed cost problem. Let me turn to Mr. Blankson. Maybe let me focus on you with the buildings, especially from your background. I mean, people who are building in waterways. Tell me, what is the rationale? Why do people think they must build in waterways?
Well, I'm not too sure why they build in waterways, but...
And I'm saying because now it's become a bit more rampant. Yes. People, they are happy to buy so much sand to fill the area. Build. Sometimes you enter, in fact, recently I went to a house somewhere at Matadenta, and it was our 3-story building. The water had risen even to the roof. And I think it was somebody wanted to buy. My first inclination was that, no, this is a big risk. I don't think you should invest your money in it. Because and you can see it visibly climb to the roof. A 3-story building.
I think people want to build closest to the city. So when all lands are sold, the high places are sold.
Yeah.
The areas marked for, say, farmlands close to water channels, floodplains, then later they come and sell them. So those become the most attractive areas because almost everybody is going to the outskirts, and there's the thought that you should be closer to the center of activity or the center of the city. So you see, a lot of these real estates that are coming, they are just close to floodplains. They have been backfilled, and it is very rich people who have the means.
Yeah.
They are able to acquire such lands. The issue is that you have to treat the land. You have to backfill it to elevate it. If you are poor, you cannot do that. You get it? A poor man cannot go and buy land in the floodplain. As a rich man who has a capacity and capability to backfill it and then raise the property presumptively above hazards level. They are the ones who go and do something like. So it is more driven by the desire to be closer to
the city.
Exactly. Yeah.
But isn't also maybe advised by maybe expert from some of maybe your colleagues? Because I am not an expert of water, so I don't know what to do if I'm building my house at a place where it's a waterway. Definitely there will be an engineer advising them that we can do this, we do this, do this, and you'll be okay.
Definitely so. You see, everybody building will have a building permit.
Yeah.
The permit is taken from the right authority.
Yeah.
So whoever goes to inspect and then sees the planning design for the area, and if it is such that that place doesn't need to have a building or residential property over there, then that person too is culpable. It's part of the problem. You get it? I know that in the olden days, areas marked close to what's the name? Surface water bodies are for agric purposes.
Yes.
So that there's always a certain green that traps sediment before it gets into the river. That sediment, it cleans the water before, when it rains, there's something we call the biosphere. That is the trees and grass and all of that. In the villages, after it has rained, even the next day, you see part of the rainfall trickling down.
Yeah.
This is water that should have been causing flooding, but has been delayed by the leaves and then the greens, on its way to where it could, the valley where the flooding could be caused. Now, what have we done? We've cut all the trees in the cities, and then we have paved, as my engineer has said, and this one, immediately it rains, there's an accelerated accumulation of water and transported to where a disaster can happen. It is no longer the case now. So we see that even though it rains heavily, our groundwater, our groundwater levels are going down. And the surface water just transports it quickly into the valleys, and then it gets flooded. So those who give the permits are culpable seriously for this. Now, if the area has been planned for a certain development type, and that is what has been encouraged, or that is what has been implemented, then I think, under the circumstance, you cannot hold the property developer solely responsible for the causing of what has happened. He can be held, for common sense purposes, that you see you are in a waterway and they've given you a permit, you yourself.
But he will say that he got a permit from the assembly. So anyway,
he will say that it is the expert who gave him the permit. So he thinks that it has to be done. It is not all permits that if it doesn't make sense, you should follow.
It's intriguing because I've always remembered I had a cousin who, I think early around 2012, 2013, he told us of some people wanted to sell lands to him around the Ramsar site. And he told them that, he's a good person. These places are they told him, no, you're not serious. That's not how we buy lands in Accra. He said the next time he went, the whole place was full. People had bought the lands. And now he started asking himself, hey, I should have gotten this land though. Because where he was living, he has slacked. Where he was living, and it was bringing him to town. Now today we've had to go back to this conversation. Definitely some chiefs are culpable in this. Definitely some I think as you rightly mentioned, they are big men who will go into this. And at the end of the day, in fact, recently I saw a video where in this Ramsar side, the stream, I think somebody brought, I think the Ghana Metro, their DG, he was here the last time. He showed us, I think he did some research there. Yeah. He showed us an aerial view of the place. How people had
just it's been
years ago
constricted. Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
How people had built directly into the stream.
Yes.
And so the stream gets to this point, it can't flow.
Yes. And if it cannot flow, it just
come
has
back
to rise up
and come back to everybody.
Yes. So it's a multiplication of factors. Now you've blocked the way.
Yeah.
You have blocked the pores that it should be able to percolate into the ground. The trees that could trap the rainwater for some time before it is released. The trees are gone. The coffer dams that were built in the early 1900s by the British, even before the capital city of Ghana was brought to Accra, all of them have been built on.
Filled all of them.
Yes, they've been filled and then built on. So when it rains from the mountain, it goes straight.
Go straight to come down for everybody.
If you bringing the British, what they did, their level of architecture and engineering, why don't we have it? I say this because, I was in Achimota school. When I was in Achimota school, I knew that then we had 14 houses. Every house, when they use their waste, when we use our toilets and everything, there was an underground system which collects all the water. That water is there, some sieve there which does some treatment. It takes it to the golf course where people play the golf. If you've ever used the golf course, you see that there's something that sprinkles, there's a sprinkler.
Trickling filters.
It's water coming from the school. So it's all our wastewater coming, the waters, the manure there also goes to the school farms, and the school farms down there, they use it as manure. And this 1927 thinking. But 2026, it looks like this thinking we don't have. Our engineers, is it that we are not using our engineers or the engineers don't know?
No. The thinking is still there. That is designing with nature and living with nature.
Yeah.
Now, you see, engineering must, or any profession must work within a legal space.
Absolutely.
And if I am an engineer in Ghana, the space determines the kind of things I do.
Yeah.
If I know that this rule is being acted on, my ethics, in fact, my ethics should lead me first. But once I realize that there is leeway and lacuna around some of the places, I start working around and going around those rules. Now, I gave you the example of impact assessment when people go for permit in some jurisdictions.
Yeah.
These things are things that we know as engineers. But you see, if, for example, somebody wants me to design a structure for him and I say, where you are, I think let's run an impact assessment. Let me do some hydrological studies for you. You tell me, no, you are talking too much book. You are going to increase cost.
Yeah.
You go to another engineer who say, are making 500.
Yeah.
And then quickly you go and do drawings for him and then he's gone.
In fact, now our houses, many of our homes, we don't even use architects. We don't use experts. They just find some draftsmen.
Yes.
Exactly. Just do some drawing for him.
Yes, until they are asked to bring drawings, we design drawings. Then they call some of us and say, oh, can you give me some design calculations as a report? If you give him the cost, he say no. You go and find another engineer who will take 500.
Who take 500, do it for him.
So you have this business of surviving and using the legal gaps to run the system. But in some jurisdictions, if our laws were to be biting and working, most of these things will stop. We know the rules of designing with nature, we know. But if I hold on, I say I want to design with nature, I'll go hungry. So after a while, I'll say, okay, you let me run this one and see, and pray I'm not caught. And this is what is going on. In some parts of the world, once your stamp is questioned because of some legal loop that you went around, your stamp will be taken from you.
Absolutely.
And that's your end.
Absolutely.
But here, buildings have collapsed severally in the past few years. Have we heard that an engineer's stamp was taken from him and he's no longer practicing?
I don't even think we don't even think of the engineer. Our mind does not go there.
We don't. So now, as you asked my brother whether why are people led to build in drains, it's money. Nowadays, technical minds don't speak. It's money that speaks. So you're working for somebody, and once you want to go a little, let's use a little, studies to back some science and engineering to back this business. He will tell you, no. The next time you call him, you won't hear from me. He's giving the next time you see they are building.
Yeah.
And so we have a problem, a mindset problem. And
interesting. Let me come back to Mr. Blangsing. Yeah. Now, where do we put the law in all of this? These are legal issues we are discussing. Is it that we don't care about the law? The people don't know about the law. The assemblies, they put the law behind them because somebody is taking some money. Because I guess from the little you have told us, even if we could just go with this at the plain level, I think Ghana would have been a better place.
As for the laws, they are there.
Yeah. I mean, if you read our bylaws, always, anytime I read a bylaw, I notice something I had no idea. And you can see that we are taught about it.
Yes. Provision has been made adequately.
Even where to kill an animal is in the bylaw.
Yes.
Where to kill an animal.
Provision has been made copiously adequate.
Yeah.
So it is the implementation that is the problem. Now the society type we have is such that if you're not too sure how you're going to implement the law against somebody, somebody knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who will come at you.
Yeah.
So you, an officer, you've seen something, an illegality, you've reported it to the right authorities, they're supposed to take action. By the time you realize that person who's supposed to approve of it, they've gone to see a certain chief of his village has called him, and then, so it becomes very, very difficult to...
That our culture of begging, that's a big problem. Of begging. The person that's what is right, they'll come, they are begging. Sorry, what is wrong? They come to beg.
Yes. Even recently, the demolitions that are
going
you see the kind of things that are happening.
Yeah.
They are calling people, they are threatening people and stuff like that. Because a certain big man with big, deep pocket has gone to build in the waterway. He's a party financier. You cannot go and touch his house. You get it? So the laws are there. I mean, there's no two ways about it. But beyond a certain limit, and for disasters like this, I think that what the president has ordered is what has to be done. Where necessary, the demolition must go.
But even you realize that when the issues came and the president gave a speech, now people are saying that people's homes are flooded. This is what you are come to say to us. Won't you come and say something to make us happy?
I think the rhetoric is too much. We've talked too much, and it is time for us to put some action. Let's have one president who will say, I really mean to clean this thing up. And then I think Mahama has the opportunity to be able to do that before he leaves. They say that there was this person, politician, who said, let's clear and then stop the flooding, because it's something that is preventable, to a very large extent.
Right, we'll be transitioning to the solutions, what we can do. But let's look at Ghana as of in the 1960s. A situation we found ourselves recently. I mean, I think as a Ghana Factor, so they brought up some stories to show somewhere in 63 there was huge flooding. It had risen to the level of cars. Somewhere in the 90s also, even President Rawlings, he had to wear his boots and go to some areas to be with them. Do you think that our flooding situation currently is better or we are worse off?
You should take.
Let me start with Mr. Blanks and I come to you.
I think we are worse off today because the rain, if you check the number of millimeters of rain that caused the flood types that happened, I don't think they should be more than, I think they should be more than what is happening currently. Because you see, those days, there were provisions for those dams, those coffer dams, that will, ease the pressure before the water gets to the low-lying areas. That is one. Two, there were a lot of green areas that will absorb the water and then let it percolate and recharge the groundwater system. Okay, and then there were not a lot of paved areas.
Right.
So if there was flooding, it means that the volume of water was really, really very high. But now, the trees that will trap the water, they are not there. The grass that is supposed to slow the distance, they are not there. The coffer dams, they fill them, and then they built in their ways. The drainage channels that are supposed to carry the water, they have narrowed them and then built on them. People have built houses, and then the overflow from the eaves of the roofs are a lot. They've tiled places, you know, and then they've, what's the name, tarred and paved areas. All of this, you know, increases the volume of water that's supposed to go to the low-lying areas that become, you know, a flood within a very short time of rainfall. So that is what we are experiencing now. So it is worse because of our conduct. Yes, as people living within the space. Yeah.
Interesting. Let me turn to Predio. Do you think that we are worse off currently?
Yes, I think we are worse off under lower intensity rains. Now, let me explain this. Now, you see, when you look at a stream channel or a stream flow channel, the water, say in Ghana, all our rivers come from the north and enter the sea in the south. There's something we must always appreciate as a people. When I was younger, the times that we have these types of flooding is the time where it had rained across the whole of Ghana. Let me explain this well. You see, in down south, water enters the sea, so the terrain is flat.
Yeah.
Now, if a river is supposed to come from, let's say, Tamale, let's use the Volta. It comes from, there are tributaries around the Black Volta from Tamale, Savelugu, and the water must come to Adan. When it starts raining in Accra, okay, and it takes, let's say, by the next 2 hours, the rain stops in Accra, and the storm starts moving upwards. Accra's rain has stopped. So by the time maybe Tamale's rain will hit, and maybe we open the dam and it starts coming downwards, by the time it gets here, Accra's water is gone into the sea. And so we won't have floods because there has been time for that pulse transmission to happen. But if it rains long enough to the north and the whole of Ghana is raining, it will get to a point, the water that falls in Tamale has also hit the south. At that time, that molecule of water has also hit us in the south. Our own water is also hitting us in the south. The water from the breeze is also hitting us, and there's this continuous flow. You imagine all this flow coming, like electric current, coming to the south. There will be pressure on us. And unfortunately, in the south, the topography is flat. The topography is flat, flow will not be fast enough. Unfortunately for us, and if you watch the rain, June 3rd, it rained across the whole of Ghana. Those are the times that we call there's something we call time of concentration. When we are designing drains, that's the critical time to know when water will travel from the farthest point to where we are at the lowest point. We live in a situation where these rains come because of climate change, and they rain for long, heavy, and it's raining for maybe 8-9 hours. The whole of Ghana will be flooded. But if we had mechanisms that had been put in place, like of old, where our depressions are still available, we will not be flooded like we have been flooded today. You know, so the flood mechanism, we sit at places and think, I'm the only place where the water is hitting. Water is coming as far high as Ebri, Achim.
Most of our floods come from the
north.
Mountains.
Oh, the mountainous areas. Okay.
From the north on Volta, I think when you drop a molecule of water in Damba, it takes about 3 weeks to get to a coastal. So if that floods us, that's the length of time that water traveled to be able to cause the problems we are having.
So if and you remember June 3rd, the ground was also saturated. June 3rd, and that situation, the ground, it had rained several days before. And so if we have natural means and human ways we can put in to reduce this pulse or this pressure that is moving, and we are taking it all out of the hands of nature by filling, by building places we shouldn't build, by not maintaining our drains, by not being proactive and designing to meet our development, then our situation will get worse. It will get worse. So all those videos, you see, the truth of the matter is when these videos come out, there is no analytical commentary behind this. So that's why they say we've always been, yes, we'll always be flooding, but what about the places, there were places that were not flooding in 1990. I live in Cocoa Beach. That's where I grew up. My father lives there. The lagoon around Cocoa Beach has been systematically filled. Recently when it rained, since my father and I lived there from 98, water has never come to our home before. Water doesn't even come close. About 100 meters away. Last time when it rained, I can show you a video. Water was moving uphill, and my father's hall was flooded. It entered part of the bedroom. It never happens. But over the years, they filled the lagoon 3 meters high. They were also having the ability that when it rained, people were swimming neck deep. But eventually, places that are even uphill are being affected.
Water
so, yes, water will find its level.
Even if you prevent it, it will find its level.
And then, once the rain receded, within 30 minutes, all the water went left. So that obstruction we've created and the problems because we now have money, we want to live without a law, we want to show that we can build anywhere, and regulators are also not doing much. Engineers are also supporting this kind of behavior. It is piling up, and one of these days we may not even survive to have the program. Or it will just be washed. All of us will be washed down south, and then we will start waking up. So the videos, yes, but then if you were to check the limits of those floods in terms of area, you see that it has gotten worse, far worse in our time.
Intriguing.
And I think we shouldn't be using people. When we see those videos, there must be technical commentaries to support them. If not, it makes the layman feel. I mean, all this is not for nothing. It's for nothing.
Right. Let's go into a little superstition. Maybe I'll take from Mr. Blanks. I know you're a lawyer, but let's go into a little superstition. Now, people say this problem is because the gods are angry. Galamsey, we've destroyed our land, destroyed our water bodies. And so I've seen even some places people pouring libation and all that to appease the gods, because this is a spiritual problem. From where you sit, what do you think?
No God is angry. No God is angry at anything. If we are being, for the sake of a better word, silly at managing our environment, let's not attribute it to God. I think we live in a country where we just easily attribute things to God, and then we destroy ourselves. What we can use common sense to achieve, then we want, prayer and superstition to cover up for our misconduct. No God is angry anywhere. So, but
how about Galamsey? Is Galamsey playing any role?
Oh, Galamsey has nothing to do with this. Well, Galamsey will have something to do with in the areas where Galamsey is happening. In that, a certain practice of the Galamsey allows the illegal miner to block, divert river channels. So that blockade will allow water levels to rise. So the channel that is supposed to be available for free flow of water will not be available. But it is for those who live within the catchment area of that blockade, consider it like it is a dam that has been, put together. So the water comes, meets the embankment, and then the water level rises as we have it over here. Somebody built in a waterway. It is like you have put a blockade to the water access. All right, the water level will rise. So within the Galamsey area, somebody has diverted the flow. I think I saw a video some time ago at Chebi, the brim had, yes. Exactly. It went all over. So something like that. It is just human beings putting impediments or blockades in the way of water. And water will find its own level anyway, whichever way. You can't stop it. It will rise and try to go beyond. So no God is angry. Let's leave God out of this.
Indeed, no God is angry. The problem lies with us. We'll take a very short break, and when we come back, now we're going to look at the solution. Should we start demolition? Should we start engaging our engineers? Should we start breaking these unlawful structures? Should we start just desilting our gutters? My guests are well poised to give us a solution to take us to the Ghana that we want. But maybe before we take the break, we have Joshua Etonam, who is saying that my HOD, I'm sure he's saying it to Prodio. Because I've seen Brian Nochi says that Chief Engineer Prodio. I'm sure Prodio, you are hitting them hard, so they feel what you do to them in the classroom.
To give me wahala, don't mind. Give me pressure.
Right, we'll take a very short breather here. It's still the Focus on Zed 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business platform. Do not go away.
Zed. Zed 101.9 FM.
Focus on Zed 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business platform. And we've been having a conversation this morning about flooding. And so far, we've looked at what has been causing the floods, what exactly has brought us to this point. Now, we're going to be looking at what we can do. Ghana Meteo has warned that the rains are going to continue maybe into late August or early September. Even after this year, rains are not going to end. We have been told that we are in a climate change era. The volumes of rains have gone higher. What can we do? Are we going to still have this conversation year after year that the floods and we have to do this? What lasting solution can we have to this? And in studio, I have my guest who have been doing justice to this conversation. I have with me Mr. Stanley Blankson, who is a lawyer, geologist, and a hydrogeologist, and also Purdue Yagbutui, an engineer and a doctor, civil engineer and hydrogeologist. A hydrologist and a hydrologist also.
So something hydrology, groundwater too.
So a hydrologist,
yes,
and a hydrogeologist. By the end of this program, you're going to tell me the difference between the two of them. Right, so Purdue, let's look at now solutions.
Yeah.
Let's think solutions. So all that has been said, we've spoken about climate change, spoken about problem with planning, spoken about problem with waste, we've spoken about our buildings, our lack of adherence to laws and all that.
Yeah.
From your engineer perspective, what can we do step by step? If you were to sit with the president or sit with the policy makers, what can we do? Because I don't think we should be having this problem. Our fathers have had a problem. We have had a problem. Our children are having a problem. Generations after generations. We started life with our Singaporeans and our Malaysians. I'm not too sure they'll have a problem with, let's say, 140 millimeters of rain. They won't go and sit on radio to have that conversation. What can we do together?
Together there are a lot of, we've spoken about the multiple problems that are there. To start with, our institution, for example, recommends that we do a rapid geohazard mapping for the entire country. And this will include mapping all flood-prone communities using satellite imagery, using drone surveys. I mean, what the president did by flying across the area was a good way of appreciating, getting an aerial view. Then we use digital elevation models and then flows and field assessment to understand places that are flood-prone. And once they are flood-prone, we do not develop in those spaces. And these become national maps that all of us follow, and it becomes an institutional map for all institutions. So you do not have the Sakumo place, for example.
Yeah.
You know, we all know it's a flood-prone area, but ECG has pulled cables there. ECG has pulled cables into the Sakumo ecological place. If you go there now, there are poles into the center of the ecological place.
Wow.
But if these maps are shared by all institutions, before we even start pulling poles, once we start pulling on our system, we realize we are in the water. So what do we tell the person? Wherever you got your permit from, go back and ask them for power. Ghana Water will be using the same development plan. And all this will be shared nationally for all institutions to use. By so doing, we will start cutting the nonsense. Even if somebody makes a mistake, it doesn't develop on. If you get a permit,
that is not going to make it attractive for you to live. There's no electricity there.
There's no electricity, there's no water.
Yeah.
For example, what are you going to do there? Because all the institutions, if you got the permit wrongly, the other institutions that might be with you are against you. Will you go?
Right.
In fact, it may not even start. The conversation will not start because we are all using the same map and developing together. Because we have a common map, base map from which all of us are developing from. These kind of maps we don't have. We don't also speak together as institutions. Immediately, we must suspend development in floodplains. Immediately. No development must happen now as we speak.
Especially now that these rains have made it even see the real flood-prone areas.
We shouldn't. Yes, we are living life in it. We shouldn't be developing in water courses, geologically unstable slopes, floodplains. We should not be there at all. We should just stop. All right. Then we must, what we started with, which was the development of the map, which is scientific, using evidence-based approach. We must ensure we are doing scientific assessment, constantly monitoring the progress of these maps and ensuring that they are live and they are helping us. Then, as we speak, we must also, the demolition we are going to do should not just be haphazard. They must be based on scientific evidence, using flood levels. It should just not because we want to come and break somebody's building. And we must convince people by the science. In this town, we have stopped talking about science and evidence and technique. Ghana, we don't believe in technique anymore.
Yeah, we do things anyhow.
Superstition and money is what is running the business. Right? So we must go. In fact, in the Sakumo, there was a church that was demolished, a big church in the center of the ecological zone. And the church is supposed to be with nature. A church is supposed to hear God's heartbeat. The water that is flowing has God's heartbeat in it.
They have faith. So I guess they think that if they build it, nothing will
happen.
No,
that is not a correct church, for example.
Let me chip in this one. I know the churches are likely to come at me. I saw a video where there were people standing in water. The flood was coming, and then they were
in church.
They were praying.
I tell you, I said,
during the floods.
Yes. Said,
the water had come, and they were still doing what they were doing.
Am I the one who's not correct, or the faith is bigger than? I said, well.
You lack faith. They'll say you lack faith.
I tell you. Pastors, I beg you.
So then another thing is what has started. I started yesterday and today. Desilting and maintaining drains. We should continue this practice. It must get to the level where it becomes me and you, we are neighbors. We can just wake up one morning and say, let's go around our front and desilt the drains.
Which was common previously.
It
was very common. Where you see the pool in the area, one person starts, they all continue.
Yes.
They take out the...
Now I just press my key, the door slide, I drive out, I just hear your horn, ping, ping, and I'm gone. We must come back to our community.
Now you don't know your neighbor. To go and call that neighbor that let's go and clean.
You'll be in trouble.
Yeah.
You may be in trouble. So we must come back to this. We must keep this agenda of desilting and maintaining drains in our communities. We must go back. And it was very beautiful yesterday. Yeah. Everybody was out weeding, and I'm like, wow, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
I saw this. We must keep this going. And then our emergency response systems must be activated. In some parts of the world, when it starts raining, there's a complete live information about places that will be flooded. For people to start moving uphill. Our systems must be that responsive. NADMO is the base. NADMO must not be an institution that comes to give mattresses. It shouldn't do that. It must work with institutions like the GHIG, GHIE, the Metro, the EPA, the Meteo department, an institution that has been undervalued in our country. We do not respect the Meteo department.
True.
But when you and I travel outside, what do? We are always checking weather forecast. Exactly. Because if you make a mistake, code will catch you in town. Because you didn't check the weather forecast.
In fact, I interviewed their deputy DG, I think about 3 weeks ago. He sat right in his chair. And I asked him a question that, so how come? And he was even saying that we are happy to check with Google. For Google with satellites elsewhere to give us information than for us to check with them. Yeah. And in fact, on live show, he showed us their social media handles. You check, people don't even follow them. Just about 20 followers. But every day they give updates. Every single day. And now even follow his status. You see that they even now make videos to explain, but nobody cares.
They do.
It's only when it rains heavily, then you go and check, did Matthew say, then they'll say, okay. Oh, they said that we are sorry. In fact, they had predicted about all the floods and what's the name? The Wager areas. They had predicted all of those that we should take caution, but nobody cares about them.
So that institution must be respected, reinforced, and all of us must know that that's a critical institution.
Oh yeah, they're doing a lot of work. Even with the airports, before you fly, I didn't even know.
We didn't know. We don't know most of these things.
I didn't even know before. I know somebody gives a weather update to know can a plane fly, but I didn't know it was them.
Yes, they do. They do. Know? They are so under. They are not supported logistically. Yes. They are not respected. We must. I saw there was a somebody looking for data sometime, and it was charged 10,000 for almost 20 years data, and it was complete. Took the institution to social media, then about a week ago.
Okay.
And they were bashed throughout. And I say we don't understand what data means to our development.
Exactly.
So institutions like that must be well respected. In terms of medium term, we must try and do hydrological study, and then redesign our drains based on integrated drainage master plans. You know, and the hydro services will come in here. If you go to the hydro service, there are geoscientists, there are engineers, there are architects, there are different sorts of professionals there whose minds is not being harnessed to develop our country. This must be then, once we develop all these integrated drainage plans, we can develop drains that will be able to take care of us when the rains come. And then we must protect and restore our wetlands.
Okay.
We must protect. They are like national security centers.
Yeah.
I mean, those places must have national security guys roaming those areas. Yes. We must have even cameras and drones flying those areas periodically. Immediately we see any development, we walk in and then go and demolish and go and arrest, prosecute, and jail people and make a public shame. I mean, you cannot. Because of your development, all of us have been flooded.
Exactly.
So those are some of the things that we must do. My brother will continue. I think points.
Right, Mr. Blankson, from the demolition perspective, from what we have seen, we have seen a lot of buildings in unlawful places, and I think Purdue has mentioned them. This demolition that we are calling for, how should we go about it? Should we just take a very strong approach and say, you know what, let's just demolish these structures? Or how do you think we should go about it?
Well, demolition itself may not be fully the solution. It's an integrated approach. But demolition becomes very necessary where there is a real and immediate danger to life, health, drainage, rescue access, or adjoining property.
Okay.
Then the demolition is authorized by a specific law or a statutory power. The next one is that the action is very necessary and proportionate. Then the decision is taken fairly and not selectively. And then any required precautions are observed unless the peril is so immediate that prior notice is impossible. Now, what this helps us achieve is that it clears the pathway temporarily, immediately. Because the rains are coming, I mean, if there's any structure that is in the waterway, it should be just removed. Other than further rains will worsen it.
Absolutely.
That it has rained, the the pores in the bowels of the earth have been filled. So any additional rain will let the water level rise. The first rains get absorbed, by recharge. Then, as the water pores, the spaces in the in the ground gets filled up. Water hasn't got any further place to enter, so
to just be on the surface.
Now it needs space on the surface to run, and if there's a structure that is preventing it, the structure must be removed immediately. But then it must be done legally.
Right, but legally, people say that if it's there illegally, where's the legality again? If you found yourself there illegally, why should you do not find a need to go there legally? Now, I am removing the illegal structure, and the person is telling me that I should go through a legal way.
Well, whichever way we find it, Ghana is a nation of laws.
Absolutely, but the person who went there did not bother about the law. when they're illegally. So it is just removing an illegality to remove an illegality.
So the authority that must go and remove it should have a legal backing. Like somebody has putting a structure illegally in that is obstructing and then endangering life, you have to remove it. So it is a certain legal step that is taken, provided for already, to remove the structure.
Right, but you see, and I think Purdue mentioned it, about the cleaning. Previously, there was a lot of power given to those we used to call tankers, town council, where they could just walk into your house. Okay, why do you have this rubbish here? But they give you a fine. Why do you have children walking about throwing rubbish? They give you a fine. I know there was a law. I think I've forgotten the law. I think the town planning special something. There's a law like that. Do you think we should go back to that law? Bring back those people who call Papa tankers. They wear uniforms, come. And in fact, those times, even when you see on TV, when they are coming, they announce that tankers is coming. Everybody's scattered. By the time they get to your house, everybody's clean.
I think we should. I think the previous.
It's still there.
Yes,
they are now called environmental officers.
Exactly.
Under the assemblies.
When we change their name, then it became a problem. We should go back to tankers.
It's not scary anymore.
When we hear tankers is coming.
You know, very necessary.
It's there, but the logistics. You go to some of these places and they don't have vehicles. They are there. The logistics, the support, right? Even the number of people who are supposed to do the work as environmental officers is so low. But you have several professionals who have done environmental engineering, environmental science, civil engineering, all working around unemployed.
But this one, can't we even do that? The money they generate will just finance them, so that if they catch you on the spot fine, let's say they catch you with, let's say a dirty gutter on the spot fine, 500 cedis, they enter a house, there's rubbish there. The money they will get, I think it can be enough to even pay them to finance them.
It can be done. IGF.
Exactly, they'll use their own IGF, because I think that we relax the law so much that now we are misbehaving, nobody cares. You know, recently, again, when these floods came, I saw some videos of some people, when it starts raining, there's somebody take
the beam, they start put into the water for the water to carry it away.
That is it should be a prosecutable act without even doubt. Like you see somebody with a sack. When it start raining, they go and stand the gutter, pour it there. It should move somewhere.
It's happening.
The problem I have is
happening.
The people who empty the rubbish into the drains are the people when the water level rises get affected.
Yes.
I cannot really understand that. You are the one living close to the drain. If the drain fills up, you are the one that the water will attack first. But immediately the cloud starts gathering and it starts raining, then you start emptying rubbish into it. And then immediately it goes to block itself somewhere and the water level rises. Then now you are calling what? Gods are angry or prayers.
We play the ostrich because everybody thinks that it's not going to affect me. I think I also saw one that after the floods, this flood, after we're all complaining people had died and somebody is just gladly pouring rubbish.
I saw somebody throwing coconuts.
Coconuts. I saw that one too. And the gentleman video started insulting. He said, "Why are you insulting me?" No. Exactly what he said, that they use him fixing the road. But now let's come to engineering. The structural work from the hydrologist point of view. Now there's a call that we should involve engineers in every structural decision of government and of everybody, so that it should be made law that whether from your institute or any other institute, the professionals, we should consult them. Because outside the country, you can't do without them. So you can see a lot of structural thinking into them. There are certain properties outside, no matter what, you can't put it up. You just can't. What do you have to say to it? Do you think it's a good call?
Necessarily. If you look at, the olden days government buildings, a lot of engineering went into them. So disaster doesn't affect them like the recent ones that are more politically driven and emotionally controlled or managed. You get it? So I think that if we respect our professionals for them to deliver professionally, a lot of these things will be a thing of the past. Consult the right people. I think cost is a main driver of the way we do our things, because we think that paying the right professional the right amount for them to give us the right solutions increases the cost. However, the disaster that comes, the consequences, the financial consequences, is far more than the consultation fee that you would have paid the right professional to have given you the right opinion about the work that was supposed to be.
But intriguing, this cost issue, I think it's just an attitude, because it doesn't make sense. Somebody's investing $5 million into a property, even if the engineer even charges you even 100,000.
No.
Think about it: 5 million versus 100,000. The person will gladly not pay the 100,000, but pay the 5 million because it's going to bring.
And you see, if you move the request for permitting further, and all these professionals, architects, civil engineers, geoscientists, hydrologists, are supposed to have their stamp on an assessment. For your building, they say bring a hydrological impact assessment of the roofing you are bringing on, how it's going to make water flow towards the drain. What are you putting in place to? And you bring a hydrologist, and along the way, maybe you decide you won't use a hydrologist. You go and do your own thing. If you take the document forward and they say, where's the stamp of the hydrologist who is supposed to advise you? We will not give you the permit. Then they will be forced to come back to the architect and all these professionals. But they will find a way to push through. Money will be exchange hands somewhere and it goes through. If we enforce regulation, right? And then ensure that all the professionals that are supposed to make decisions on permits, for example, have done their work, we will stop the cost. Because nationally, this is what we do. You cannot go to the United Kingdom, for example, and they say, EPA says, the Environment Agency brings an assessment. You are doing a project, and they say it may affect some groundwater aquifer. Bring an assessment. And then you say you won't bring, and it will be approved. Never. It will not happen. So you are forced to go back to do the right thing. But once there's a loopway and a lacuna, we'll go around it.
And to add to that, any professional whose stamp is found on a certain opinion or report or assessment, that becomes implemented and then suffers a disaster of this nature, will have to be brought into to come and justify why his license should not be removed. Exactly.
Because I think it happens to lawyers. If you go and if you go and even draft on lawful agreement, your stamp is on it, they can take you to a general legal counsel. Your license can be affected. So it puts some caution on them to know what to do. But then maybe, shouldn't the law then now, I'm not too sure of all the laws that affect your institution, but shouldn't the law now mandate them consulting engineers? So such that...
The law does.
Oh, sorry, did it?
The law does.
Yes.
The law does. Yes. The permitting process asks you, the professionals who must be involved for different levels of projects.
Oh.
It does.
Interesting.
It does. But whether we are reading the law and implementing it...
The person, the decision maker,
they call it the technical committee.
Spending officer.
The technical committees, they approve this. Even not the works department too. There's a specialized committee, and the works recommends to them, and they approve the permit.
Intriguing.
Yeah. So if the rules work, and for example, any permit you see, there must be a committee that has approved, and all the members of those committee, you will know them if you go back to the assemblies and the minutes they had and the meetings they had. So if we all agree that where we have gotten to is enough, the law can work. The law will work. It will work.
It surely should. Yes. It surely should. And maybe that will also take me to your institute, the Ghana Institute of Geosciences, right?
Yes.
I mean, first tell us, what does the institute do? I mean, for me, that's part of my first few times I'm hearing about you. What do you do?
So the Ghana Institute of Geosciences is a group of geosciences.
Okay.
And if we say geoscience, let me make it simple. Any engineer or any scientist who is working with the earth, the ground.
Okay.
So, in fact, if you know our Ghana Geological Survey, we've been there for years. The institute has been there for years. So, if you want to do something like drilling, hydrogeologists are there. Geologists are there. Even the petroleum you're getting, most of the people on those projects are geoscientists.
Okay.
which other one?
Petroleum Commission.
Petroleum Commission. Most of the people there are from.
So there any scientist who does any work with the ground?
The ground. Yes, it's a geoscientist.
Geo is Earth.
Earth.
Okay.
And the scientist of the ground.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So, so for example, you are even doing a project. You have a geotechnical engineer. There are some that are registered with Ghana Institute of Engineering, and then the Ghana Institute of Geosciences. We are also there.
Okay.
Geophysicists. For example, you are doing some work. You want to understand what is in the ground. There are scientists who send several signals into the ground, and a response will come for you to understand what is in the subsurface, either for water, either for mineral, either for your foundation. They are all there. So it's an institution that is very useful. And in fact, countries that respect their geoscientists survive. Because all the minerals you have in this country are under the care of geoscientists. All the minerals.
Okay.
Iron, water, iron, gold, tin, manganese.
Diamond.
All of these must be understood. Geoscientists take care of that. Your groundwater, they take care of that. Your crude, petroleum, the rocks you even use for construction. So geoscientists are very, very important in any national development. And that's why the British, when they came to this country, they mapped the geological map they mapped a greater part of that. And in fact, they know where all that we have, they know where all of it is. And the British are very good geologically. They are some of the top geologists. And any country that forgets about its geology or its ground is doomed. So our institution has been there for a long time. We are currently seeking an ally to formalize us like the other professional institutions, and then we can start.
The Greek scientists, are they part of you guys?
No, they are with I think they form part of the general science, but if they do engineering, they form Ghana Institute of Engineers, for example.
Okay.
Yeah. So it depends on where you are. For example, I am part of the GHIG and Ghana Institute of Engineers because of my civil engineering background.
Okay.
And then his
hydrogeology. So I go back to the ground in detail.
Are you going to tell us the difference between hydrology and hydrogeology?
So hydrology is hydrology is the study of water. And there is surface water and there is groundwater and then there is atmospheric water. So if you look at this, the water cycle from class 4. That water cycle is one of our problems as a country is we have not understood what the water cycle is. Where all the water comes, when it comes from the heavens, the stores and where it gets to. So hydrologist takes care of anything underwater. But there's surface water, there's atmospheric water, and there's groundwater. So the atmospheric water is managed and dealt with by the meteo people. So the meteorologists are also hydrologists, but they focus on atmospheric water. Then surface water hydrologists in Ghana, they are the hydrologists we call. But in some jurisdictions, we say surface water hydrologists.
Okay.
Then there's hydrogeologists. He's interested in once the water gets into the ground, what does it become? What contaminant does it move with? Where does it go? How much volume of water is in the ground? If I open the ground now or I'm doing mining and I cut the ground, how much water will come into my tunnel, for example? So if you go to the mines, there are a lot of hydrologists there. Hydrogeologists there. Because if you go to the subsurface, you must manage the water space in the subsurface before you can mine. Even on the surface, if water runs, for example, if you do a dam and the dam leaks, it can touch groundwater. How the contaminant may transform and move to downstream population and their boreholes, hydrogeologists pay attention to that. And all the processes of the subsurface is our business. Currently the Galamsey, we are all focused on what is happening on the surface. We haven't thought about how this contaminant may have seeped. If you watch the water cycle, groundwater and surface water talks all the time. What is happening to groundwater, we are yet to really pay attention to that as a people. So hydrogeologist is a big word, but it's not any wild thing. It's very simple.
Interesting. And your institute, what have you been doing so far? What activities? I think Mr. Blankson will take that.
Well, apart from the bill that we're putting together, and then the airline to regulate our profession.
Okay.
The paper we have put together contributes to how we want to be able to resolve this flooding thing. Inside it, we have it that we'll prepare flood hazard maps. Then we can produce a national geological hazard and flood risk atlas. Then we can advise governments on land use. We can support district assemblies, provide geoscientific advice before development permits are issued, help prevent construction in hazardous areas. Then we can assist NADMO during disasters. We join damage assessment teams, identify areas at risk of further flooding or landslides, advise on safe locations for evacuation centers and resettlement. We can support engineering design, provide geological and hydrogeological data for the design of roads, bridges, culverts, drains, and flood control infrastructure. We can help in monitoring environmental changes, steady groundwater levels, monitor erosions, sedimentation, changes in river channels, assess the impact of climate and change on flood risk. Then we can publish and educate, all right? Educate citizens about the dangers of building in floodplains, protecting wetlands and natural drainage channels, proper waste disposal, flood preparedness. I think my brother should.
I think in this July we have we've made July. We have a team called Geoscience for a Safer Ghana.
Okay.
This program is, for example, one of the outreach programs. On the 29th, we'll be having a webinar.
29th of July.
Yes, we'll be having a webinar on our current flooding problem. And our members are also going to actively visit landslide sites to recommend, the actions about those unstable terrains and what must be done to ensure that when the rains come, people are safe. So we have a few things coming up within this July to help develop our country together.
Absolutely. I think you guys are doing something just very excellent there, but we just don't hear of you. But I'm guessing going forward, you're going to put in a lot more into your public. I think we can't develop without our engineers. That I'm no doubt about. Yes, we've talked about all the policy. Let's come and talk a lot of noise. And we must do. But I think that the engineers, you guys are
the
more
engineers and geoscientists.
And geoscientists. Yes. Okay. When I say engineer, my mind, I'm covering everybody.
Yes.
My engineers and geoscientists, yes. Especially because everything we do, we can't do without the land. Really. We can't do without the land. And if people are building a place where they could know that even here is a water locked area, you advise yourself and know exactly what to do.
And on that score, I want to thank ZFM for giving us the opportunity to market ourselves and what we do. We're hoping that this collaboration will continue so that our visibility will be enhanced.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. We're happy to provide any support that you need. We're all about making Ghana better. So long as you have the desire to make Ghana better, we're happy to collaborate with you. Right. So before we go, let me take your final words on this issue of floods, on demolition, on going back to our older ways of doing things, getting our community clean, cleaning our water bodies. If you were to speak to the president, what are you going to say? Maybe let's start with Mr. Blankson.
Well, I'll tell Mr. President that floods generally are man-made. It is our conduct, that lets floods happen. But with the right attitude, floods will be controlled, can be controlled. So planning must be put in the things we do every day. Immediately we have, a challenge on hand.
Yeah.
Short term, let's remove and then make sure that the laws work. Medium term, plan. Long term, plan. That is what I think.
But before I turn to produce this remove, let me just again, because you're a lawyer. If the people say that because you've broken down my structure, government must compensate us, what are you going to say?
Well, if the structure was legitimately put there, the Constitution provides for compensation for persons that government has taken an action in the interest of people for safety and, to ignore the benefit of the people. So that one is legitimate. Provision has been made for compensation for persons of that nature. But if it is illegally,
no compensation for them.
You should pay the cost alone.
But they probably should even pay for the demolition on top.
They should pay, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Prodio, final words.
Yeah, so every flood map that you ignore eventually becomes tomorrow's, that you ignore today becomes tomorrow's disaster. And I'll tell him that there are very simple ways to solve our problem. And we must work together to use these simple approaches. Let's go back to our simple ways, use simple approaches, and use the law to back the simple ways. There must be a national agenda. This rainwater harvesting thing that I just told you about must be on the national agenda. If you come for a permit, you're coming to pave a place, you're going to put on a roof, the terrain was not used to that water that you are coming to allow to run off. Put in mitigation measures. Get the professionals to do assessment for you. Even if you want to catch the rain but not use today because you think you are above rainwater use, harvest it, save our drain. When the rain passes, release it under slow conditions so all of us can live right. Let's keep life simple.
Yeah, we should start drinking the rainwater. We should start harvesting it.
Yes.
Start thinking of how we can save.
Yes. Stop using the pure water when we have Ghana water.
Yeah.
If we doubt the Ghana water, let's boil it and store it and use like of old. It cools down. We put it in our fridge and drink. Let's keep our sachet, our pure water bottle. Let's reuse it several times.
True. But I know somebody who goes around collecting these bottles just for reuse.
Yes.
You know, and I think it's a good point. I'll speak to my producer and see how we can have one program on this water issue. Why we have to dedicate our attention and time to the water which is being made by Ghana water, because as you have demonstrated, it's clean water.
It is.
It's clean water.
Very. And I drink it in my home. My daughters drink. Everybody, that's what we drink. I don't buy sachet water. I don't. For years now, I have stopped.
Intriguing.
Yes.
We all must follow suit. In fact, my executive producer indicates that he's happy to have more collaboration with your institute.
We'll be very happy.
In fact, we have an online platform and a newspaper. Anytime you want anything disseminated, we're happy to give you that platform to send across
we'll be most grateful.
the information.
We are very grateful.
And I think I saw some comments online. If we could think some people.
Yes.
Okay, this is from Gorman Frederick. He says that we are watching live. Gorman Fred is also asking if we can join, I guess, for the advocacy. If they can join, your students are happy to join in the advocacy of the institute. Because I'm guessing when they graduate,
they become the engineers.
They become the engineers
and scientists on the ground. Yes.
Absolutely. From William Nunyu, he says, great submission, Dr. Prodio. It's good to have students, though. When you go to follow you anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, and William again says that see how FO is relaxed. He knows what he's up. Great one there, Doctor. I'm sure their exams are coming up, so they are trying to butter you.
Yes, in 2 weeks.
Then I get it. They are saying, and their names are mentioned, so Doc, when you are marking the exam, remember that William gave you a good comment.
I think this group, I don't even, apart from Goma, who is I'm supervising for project day. William, William, I don't teach. I don't teach him at all. He's a very good student.
You are HOD, so at least when he comes to you, you know the Ghanaian one who were saying begging. The Ghanaian problem is begging. So the leader will start making the situation and condition very conducive. So when they come, oh, Doc, you're the one I was saying that you are doing very well. Anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much for spending your Saturday morning with us. I've thoroughly enjoyed today's conversation, and especially the angle you have brought us from that very technical point for us to understand exactly what the problem is and the solution we should be pursuing. Thank you very much, Prodio Yawagbetui, who is an engineer and a doctor, a civil engineer, a hydrologist and a hydrogeologist, and also a member of the Ghana Institute of Geosciences. And also joined by Stanley Blankson Esquire, who is a geologist, a lawyer, and also a hydrogeologist and a member of the Ghana Institute of Geosciences. I mean, we're happy to share your programs also. I've seen some people say online they want to join the webinar. Okay. So, I mean, before
we'll share.
Exactly, so that we can. So I guess an open program, right?
Yes.
Yes, so that we can all join to learn more about it. We also have Dola Ray, who says that Dr. Purdue all the way. Yeah. All right, thank you very much again. I mean, we are very grateful for spending your Saturday morning with us, and we're happy to collaborate with you. And from time to time, we're going to be seeing you because this conversation of flooding will keep it going.
Yes.
And then we are hoping to see you or people from your institute to give us support.
Sure.
And thank you all very much for spending your Saturday morning with us in having a conversation of whether demolition is the answer to ending Ghana's recurring floods. My name is Kweku Atakura Jumo, and I've been your host today. Until we come your way next week, do stay safe. Do that which will make Ghana proud of you. God bless us all.
Zed 101.9 FM.